Hey, everybody, and welcome to Facility Talk with the Froelich Brothers. I'm Scott Froelich, and as you know, this podcast is all about diving into the world of facility management, property maintenance, and the strategies to keep the buildings running smoothly. So our goal is to bring you practical insights from industry experts to help you navigate those challenges, talk about how to improve efficiencies, and to optimize building performance. So today, I'm thrilled to have Jose Payan with us today. Jose is the CEO at Tortilla La Perta, which is a production facility in Minnesota. So we're going to be discussing, some of his experience in running a facility and some of the management styles he has, and some of those biggest challenges that he faces, and those solutions that helps drive success in this industry and at his production facility. So, Jose, let's get started. To kick things off, do you mind telling us a little bit about your company, about your role, and maybe share with us what a typical day looks like for you?
Sure. So we have a tortilla bakery. We make corn, flour, tortillas, and as well as tortilla chips. We make raw style tortilla chips so that customers can at restaurants or be able to make them at their facility, be able to fry and have fresh hot chips for their customers. And we also do bag chips and private labels as well. We started 27, going on 27 years ago. My mother and my father started the business in 99. We were obviously, my siblings and I were the first employees. Mostly at the beginning, it was mostly I who started working under my father, and getting training on how to make an authentic tortilla. So I was fortunate enough to be able to work under him, and for many years, for many years, we worked for free. It's a family business. Uh, yeah, so it took us a good, I want to say a good couple years to get our faces and our name known around the the city. And slowly we started growing, and we ended up getting a building in St. Paul. And from there, we learned a little bit about how to maintain a building, but it was it could be looked as a good investment. It could be looked at as a bad investment in both ways because it was something that we leased. We leased out, and we invested a lot of money into making it into a food production. It was actually a body shop for vehicles. So
Okay.
we had to build walls and remove all the equipment out of there, and then make it food for food processing at that point. And so eventually we grew out of that space, and we were searching for something a little bit bigger. We wanted to keep that one, but it was unfortunate enough that we weren't able to keep both buildings. We ended up buying a bigger one and moving all of our equipment that we had into this facility. And we essentially we were in it's about a 4,000 square foot space. Now we're in a 15,000 square foot space.
Wow.
So we were able to just get a lot more space and be able to we added more equipment, slowly but surely. Yeah, and my father ended up taking me under his wing. And he actually took a lot of our siblings into different positions. I am the CEO, but my sister plays a really important part. She's the CFO. I have my other brother who also plays a very important part. He's the COO. My father's a president, my mother's a vice president. So we've been collectively working together on building this, keeping this family business going for the last 27 years. So,
Wow. That's great, man. And, I can share, similar story. It's funny, Jose, that, you talk about your family and, starting this business and your father taking you and your siblings and your mother as well being part of the business under your wings and really, growing the business organically and working together as a family. There's a lot of value in that. And I'm sure, you and your siblings, if you have kids, you want that next generation, if they, choose to, be part of the family business. And, we're family owned as well. So, you're speaking my language. I've got my mother and father in our business. They're the owners. I've got three brothers in our company. So, we all have, similar to you, our own roles and our, own lanes that we stay in, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Hmm.
Um, my sister, she's involved in our company, and we're three generations. So my grandfather, he's still involved. He's approaching 90 years old, so his involvement has changed a little bit with where he's at in his life, but still active, still part of the business,
Hmm.
and kind of the same deal. My father took us under his wings and has been our mentor, and has developed us into the commercial roofing industry now for all our lives, similar probably
Wow.
to you.
Like
So a
all
lot
my
of
life.
similarity there with respects to your business and family and our business and family. And, naturally for us, we're a commercial roofing, a national commercial roofing company. When we put this podcast together, it was about, talking to other building owners, and, these building owners and businesses are all, different types of businesses, but they share the same challenges in facility management. And, that's the idea behind us talking today, is to hear your story and, to hear about your company, but also because you own your facility, to talk about, how you guys manage it. What are some of the things that, from a trend wise, and I'll ask you this, what have you seen from building management, building facility? What kind of trends or changes have you seen over the past few years?
Well, for us, um, I think for us, it's a little bit different when it comes to food manufacturing facilities. So we have to have like a certain standard for food, what goes in, what goes out. Certain documentation has to be developed and has to be saved for a
Yeah,
number of years.
that's a great point.
So I mean, for us, it's changing all the time, all the time. We have every year there's more and more laws being put into place and procedures being added, and yeah. So for us, it's continuously trying to see how we can make our building better for that. We can produce more products out of it.
Yeah, for sure. What kind of obstacles do you feel like you're facing in maintaining your building? Because a lot of, building assets, go into a makeup of your structure. You've got, your parking lot, you've got your siding, you've got your roof, you've got your HVAC equipment, a lot of components from the exterior, building structure. But then
Hmm.
inside, you've got all the maintenance that goes with, obviously your machines. I'm sure there's, other components inside the building that, you have to stay ahead of, or else, you kind of fall behind and turn into a reactive style, management method. So maybe touch a little bit there on, what kind of obstacles are you facing in maintaining your building?
Well, it's yeah, it could be looked as an obstacle. So for us, we have ovens. So being that it's an oven, it's going to be hot. So
Yeah.
for us, it's maintaining good air circulation within the building, keeping it cool so that our employees are able to work in some type of a good environment. So for
Hmm.
us, it's just really trying to maintain the building in the summer cool. In the winter, it's perfectly fine. Our ovens keep everybody warm enough, and it's perfect. We can. It's more of our building is one like big box. Think of one big box in a food facility plant. What we're trying to do for like, for example, for the future, we want to be able to separate productions right now because
Okay.
it's everything is in one place. We have strategically designed everything so that we do not cross contaminate with each other's equipment, but we want to now move to separating complete the complete lines from production and
Right.
from packaging as well. So to do that, that's where we're finding our biggest obstacle is dividing the building, where to divide the building, and how would it look like if we wanted to add more equipment, or do we really need this equipment? So moving the space is another obstacle for us. Um, we've really outgrown the space that we have. So we're starting to make
Yeah.
layers. It's actually pretty cool. Before, when we first started, it was just, one little small equipment. A lot of it was heavy lifting. That was an obstacle for us and our employees. It was a lot of heavy lifting, and slowly but surely we added equipment to take on that heavy role. So
Wow.
now our employees, for example, now are just, what they do is maintain the equipment, making sure the equipment is working properly.
No, that's hey, those are growing pains, and those are good challenges that you're facing because
Absolutely.
your business is doing well, and hopefully you are continuing to grow, and you may be looking for a new facility, or using the space you're in now for like you had mentioned, some different uses, and continuing to invest in the growth, and possibly
Hmm.
looking at buying or leasing another facility for growth and production. That's awesome. I mean, those are, great things to hear. So you guys sound like you have a good, control over maintaining your equipment, for production purposes. What are you doing? Are you self-performing the facility, maintenance, the building maintenance, like your roof,
Yes.
your HVAC, your, all the different pieces and parts with, things that go on there?
Yes, we do all of it. We've taken care of all of our building. We do our maintenance in-house, unless it's something like a big project that we have to do. So, for us, like for example, loading docks and getting sealed for loading docks, obviously we can't do that. We have to get a third party or third company to come in and do that for us. But those are things that we've added on to the building to help us to keep the or is what they want to keep sanitation and cleanliness, so that no air, no birds can get in from, gaps and stuff. So yeah, our biggest obstacle I'm gonna say is dividing the building right now, because we want to be able to get certifications. We
Yeah.
want to be able to get the certified in the gluten free. And right now, because everything is in one building, even though everything is separated, it's we're not able to get that certification yet.
Yeah. No, you have your own set of unique challenges, being in food facility production, and that's much different than office space or, manufacturing of different goods or products. Food, there's I'm sure a lot of red tape to get through,
Mhm.
to have the production output that your guys's sites are set up for. So that's unique, and I think our listeners will, have a different perspective on the different obstacles with the uniqueness of your facility. Are you guys, with the building maintenance? Let's touch a little bit on technologies. Are you guys doing anything technology wise to help manage your facility? Is there any modern software or any tools or innovations that you found particularly useful in helping maintain the building?
For so things like roofing, for example, maybe not technology itself, but the new hardware that they use to build, for example, your your roof. We use this for like a membrane. Before, we had that, it's like tar asphalt,
Yeah.
and it being a hot production building, that also it maintained a lot of heat in the building. So to help us release that heat, we ended up uh, getting the roof redone, and then using a membrane that's reflective, that's also white, so it reflects the sun
Yeah,
out,
man.
and then we keep the coolness in. And we did actually look into purchasing a couple different buildings. One of our neighbor buildings actually just went up to sale, but um, for us in food production, we have to add a lot of weight to our roof, being that we
Mhm.
need air circulation, we need hoods, and besides the hoods, we also have hood extractors for the ovens. So it's a lot of weight for the building. Some buildings are made with concrete ceilings. Not really. That's something that you can purchase or
Right.
put weight on or cut out.
Right.
So
Right.
those are the problems that we had when we looked into purchasing, for example, our neighbor building. We also looked into extending the building and how much square footage we can also get, and can we build build up. Being where we were at, and where we're portioned inside our street, and how our neighbors kind of share an alley. So being that we share an alley, it's kind of hard for us to extend the building. It being
Yeah. No, that
uh
makes sense.
yeah, it being there's an easement that you can't go by for the city.
Right.
So yeah. So yeah, those
No,
are all
that's
options that we looked into.
yeah, that's awesome. Well, you're talking my language when you're talking, sustainable roofing and reflectivity on roof system types. A lot of energy savings that I'm sure you guys are seeing in your utility bills. And that's a great move. And that is, taking advantage of modern technology when it comes to looking at, re-roofing options in the marketplace today. So that was smart. That's a good move. And, now it's just managing the life cycle of that system, for you. No different than your HVAC equipment or your production machinery inside your facility. Those are all assets, right? So it's putting best practices in place to maintain those assets. And albeit, your roof that you installed with the energy efficiency that you'll achieve from it, that roof needs to perform, so maintenance needs to be done on the membrane. You guys need to probe the seams. You need to make sure that the drain bowls are clear. That if people are doing maintenance on your HVAC equipment, they're not using the roof as a platform, and you're protecting the roof from, a hammer dropping or nails, puncturing the membrane. Those are some uh, other best
Something as simple,
practices
blowing it
specific
off.
to exactly. It's the little things that if you do consistently avoid, those little things turning into bigger issues down the road. And,
Absolutely.
that goes with all of the assets you have inside your facility. So, that's great to hear. Now, do you guys you got equipment on your roof, right? For the ventilation and to keep that,
Energies.
um, system running smoothly. So, from a equipment maintenance standpoint and from a roof maintenance standpoint, those are two big assets that are helping your facility. Touch on that. Do you have um, personnel that's skilled techs that can, go up there and take care of those little things, do those maintenance services?
Yes, yes. So maintenance, simple as maybe taking off the filter, replacing the filter. That's big. For the roof, like I said, blowing things off, as even a simple piece of wood can overheat. Sun is hitting it, it can damage the membrane. So simple things like that to help you. Filter needs to be clean so that air can go through it, or else it's going to get plugged up. Simple as
Yep.
that. So
Yep.
those are the things that we can do in house, but we do have uh, third parties that come in and do any of the bigger work for us.
That's smart. I mean, you gotta utilize your resources and, maintain, that balance of cost savings because you wanna have that balance of, maintaining a high quality building, right? You wanna have those checks in balances in place, but at the same time, there's costs that you had to negotiate um, to not overspend or underinvest in your facility. So sounds like, with your family and the resources around you that, a lot of the self-performing building maintenance, at the end of the day is, a good cost savings for you guys.
Mm, absolutely, absolutely. Um, Something we also work with, like for example, Ecolab that does, making they take care of our pest control. So they have to audit the building. They have to come and give us a report.
Right.
Hey, I see a gap here. Hey, this could be a potential exit or entering sign for pests. And so they'll give us a report. We have to tackle those report within a certain amount of time
Yeah.
because it's a food facility.
Yeah, no, you make a great point. I mean, you have to be proactive at maintaining your facility. It
Mhm.
sounds like in your industry, being reactive, red flag's gonna start to rear its head. And, you as a food industry, as a, um, you know, production facility of food, that's going into the marketplace. I mean, it sounds like you guys have a good proactive building maintenance solutions and best practices in place because of your unique industry.
Absolutely. As well as, for example, cleanliness, something big, keeping the roof, the ceiling clean. When you mention technology, also, for example, we've added a new lighting system. We replaced all the
Nice.
lighting not once but multiple times
Yeah,
because it keeps
that's
getting better
great.
and better. So those are things
Absolutely.
that we can adding to the building so that we can take advantage of all those the new technology that is coming out.
Yeah, no doubt. And we live in the a world now with AI. More technology and more advancements are going to come with best practices and solutions in building maintenance. You're a young guy. I'm sure your siblings are probably similar in age, kind of same to me. Me and my brothers, we're all the same age. It's our job to keep the finger on the pulse of, the ever-changing world that we live in, and making certain that we're ahead of different solutions and technology that's available to manage our facilities, because it's all going to benefit us at the end of the day to look ahead, always try to make certain that the proactive mindset is there. And I believe truly that you know with that mindset, good things will always come from results or outcomes of managing, buildings. So that's good stuff, man. You know, this has been a good discussion. I appreciate you coming on. I always tell my guests that, we respect your time and taking your time out of the day to join this podcast. And, we try to keep it right around 30 minutes. And, we're up against it now. So, any final thoughts that you want to share with our audience on, any cost efficiency strategies or any other technologies or, anything else that maybe you want to share with our audience today?
I would say plan for the future. I say plan for the future is the biggest thing because purchasing, for example, purchasing a building, we could do that. But whether the building can do what we need it to do, can we use it for that? And planning, for example, seeing what's your return on investment.
Yeah.
Spending, $20,000 on if your parking lot just needs a little asphalt, or does it need to really be repaired? Is someone get hurt if it's something that you're not going to see if it just needs it for look, can you spend the $20,000 somewhere else and plan for a future? So it's just for me, it would be just planning for the future, seeing whether that building can really work for what you need it to do. That's
Yeah.
going to be the biggest takeaway that I want to give my people listening.
Oh, that's great, Jose. That's really good stuff, guys. This has been a great conversation, and yeah, I really appreciate your insights, Jose, and your perspective. I think you just nailed it on the nose. Planning for the future, really stood out, and you guys have a lot of that in place already. And like you and I just shared, we're both young men that are hopefully going
Yeah,
to be leaders in our space in our industry for some time, and maintaining the facilities that we work inside for not only us, but our employees and, visitors that come into our facilities, having that proactive mindset and management style, really stood out. And I know our listeners will get a ton of value from this. So thanks again for joining us. And those listening, if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to Facility Talk for some more expert discussions on facility management and building maintenance. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
thank you.